Jack, we were in the same time zone less than 24 hours ago. So it
Okay.
doesn't matter what time zone you're in now. Our bodies are acclimated to the same time zone. So
Which
if
was
it was,
even earlier.
but if it was 3 hours ago, I was up. So like your body should have been
Well, of
up.
course you were up, but I woke up at 11:30 today. I thought that was pretty good.
You did
I,
great, Jack.
we'll
Thank
get,
you.
you did
Even when
great.
I get better, I still get criticism.
I mean,
That's
it's,
the cost to greatness.
but let's see how great you are though, Jack.
Survivor News. 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 Survivor News.
What's up? It's Brice.
It's your boy Wendell.
And it's Jack, and we're your baby boys.
Get ready for a new episode of
Survivor News. Welcome back to the Survivor News. Let's get it crunk up on it, so up on it, soldier.
In this dancery.
Let got y'all hoping now you floating, so you got to dance
with me.
Don't need no hateration, holleration in this dancery. Let's get it percolating.
While you waiting,
So just dance. Come on, everybody, get on
I know
up.
that song.
And got it. Something in the house tonight. We gonna make it feel all right.
Make it feel all right.
Come on, baby, just party with me. Set loose and let your body free. Leave your situations at the door. So when you step inside, jump on the floor. Jackery name.
Okay, I think I know the name of the song. Percolating.
Oh.
Is that all right?
Jack's like, it's time for the percolator.
Percolator.
It's time
for the percolator.
It's time for the percolator.
Percolator.
It's time for the percolator.
Is that not called percolating?
No, it's not.
I know the song. Like,
Okay, so
I don't know who it's by.
give a shot at the artist.
Damn.
And if you say Michael Jackson,
It's not Michael Jackson.
okay, I'll give you a hint.
Actually, yeah.
She performed at the Super Bowl last year.
That's a good hint. I should know that. Is it? Stop. Missy Elliott.
Oh, I mean, so
No,
it's
don't
not.
give me any credit for that.
I feel like, listen, because first of all, welcome to this week's Survivor News. Listen, the people in the comments, first of all, somebody in the comments was like, I give Jackery a lot of credit because Brice adds a jazz tune to every one of the songs that he does. Okay. So it's Mary J. Blige. Actually, what is the name of the song? Dancery? No, I don't even know if I know the same Mary J. Blige song. Okay. All right.
Wait, I need to.
Ladies, leave your man at home. The club is full of ballers and their pockets full grown. And all you fellas, leave your girl with your friends because it's 11:30 and the club is jumping. So you say you got a man, yeah, you don't got a girl, but the party ain't gonna stop. So let's make it hot, hot. Last week when you're gonna call your photo, oh, there go the jazz.
See, I've heard that song too. I don't know what it's called. I don't know who it's by, but I am familiar with the song. So I think
Okay.
that's progress.
I'll give you a hint. You say this artist every week.
Destiny's Child.
There you go, Jackery.
Look at
Let's go,
Jackery.
man.
Well, welcome back to Survivor News. And if you are new to Survivor News, every week we test Jack's R&B knowledge of the late to early 2000 R&B. And that was just this week's installment. I am joined by the R&B artist himself. First single, Netflix. Second album, The Circle, Season 2. Welcome back to the podcast, Jackery.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad we could get the music trivia out the way this week.
Before we introduce our next guest, Jack, if you were an R&B artist from the 2000 era, what do you think your R&B name would be?
Juicy Jack.
Okay.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, thank
Juicy
you,
Jack.
Juicy, Juicy
Wow.
Jack. The Jack Shack. You guys have a new name.
Ooh, Jack
Juicy
Shack.
The Jack Shack.
Little baby boy.
Okay,
Little
Lil baby
baby
boy.
boy.
Oh, we starting off hot. And this corner, we've got the man, the myth. He started in Atlanta by way of Ardmore, then by Penn, then by Ghost, but was the first after the merge. Welcome
Don't do
back
that.
to the podcast, Wendeezy.
I brought sleeves today.
Thank you.
Let's
You know what
go.
I'm saying? I didn't want it to be a gun show today. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to be here. Thank you very much, Brice. After a wonderful trip, wonderfully seeing both of you on the West Coast in Seattle. It's great to be back.
Yes, all the baby boys were there together.
Oh, yeah.
We came back from Seattle, and one thing Jack gonna do, Jack is going to Jack. Okay, let me just start the story off. Seattle was amazing.
Hey, yo.
Okay, Jack got up early. We
He
went
did
to
what?
he got up early for his standards.
Sure.
Jack, we said, hey Jack, you like to sleep in, so we're gonna put your hotel right in
The same building.
the same building, so you can sleep as late as you want. Jack said, thanks guys, I want to help with the setup.
Oh, yeah.
So we said, come on baby boy. We gave him a time. Jack was 40 minutes late. Jack showed up
To
with
be fair, I called you each like 5 times. You guys didn't pick up. I didn't know where to go. So
It's
We were
crazy.
setting
We
up.
actually were setting up.
well, I know, but the bar was on the 3rd floor of a mall. Like I was there. I had to go. I went and got coffee because I was waiting.
Yeah, Jack showed
I didn't
up
know where
with-
to be.
What did you show up
I
with,
said to
Bryce?
wake up at 1, and I woke up before 1, and I was there probably 1:30.
It wasn't
I
just
didn't know.
coffee.
I
Jack
was
showed up
lost.
with a coffee and a half of a sandwich. Wendell's like, how you doing, Jack? And Jack's like, I just smashed the sandwich.
It was good. It was a well-made sandwich, well-made coffee. But
Let's
I had no choice but to stop because I didn't know where to go. So I said I might as well get some sustenance.
okay.
What kind of
Let-
sandwich was it?
It was a bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant
Oh, let's
with a little
pat-
ham on there too. I think it was really, getting every part of the pig.
Oh.
Well, you better oink oink.
I think I heard an oink or two after the sandwich.
But
Nah, it was-
you showing up with food gave me a flashback to a year and a half ago when we were in Hoboken, Jack. Hoboken.
Yeah.
When
Good
we were in
correction.
Hoboken,
Uh-huh.
and you came up.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you came up to Philly. We picked you up. Well, I don't know. You came to Philly. We went to Wendell's house. We drove, and we were supposed to help with the setup. Do you remember this story, Wendeezy? And we're figuring out where we need to put
The
stuff. and
sofas or the step and
well,
repeat?
the sofas. Jack was making a obtuse angle with the sofas, and then in the middle of it, Jack was like, "Is that a Popeye's chicken?
Wait, it wasn't Popeyes.
Is that a Dunkin' Donuts?
It was a Dunkin' Donuts.
Actually,
I don't give me any.
are
That's the most setup I've ever done. Was that party?
Jack was like,
It
Are
made
you
me
guys-
emotional that night.
"Are you guys busy? I'm gonna run and get some Dunkin' Donuts." No, but we always
I'm
appreciate.
doing unpaid labor, man. I can't even go buy myself a sandwich.
Jack,
It's
I got a question.
unbelievable.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
You said you got emotional that day.
Oh, that,
you remember?
I
that's
don't
the night.
remember.
It was that was Xander's episode, and
Yeah.
remember we were looking for Jack. Nobody could find him, and then Joey was like,
He was
"He's
under
under
the
the
speaker."
speaker by the poinsettias." And
I was dialed in. I was balling, and I ain't talking basketball. Because what happened was it was a 3-hour episode. I didn't know how the season worked out, but Xander was in there still, so I didn't want to go. I wasn't trying to socialize. I was really trying to watch. And because it was a 3-hour episode, I found my own little corner, and the bucket of bottles were next to me, and so I just kept refilling them and just watching and just sipping, and then might as well get another one. And before I know it, I was probably about 6 vodka Red Bulls deep and getting pretty emotional.
Damn. Jack,
But-
you really didn't know the outcome?
I really didn't. So
Wow.
I was
Kudos
locked.
to Xander.
Yeah, I didn't really want to know. I wanted to be unspoiled, and he didn't want to tell me, so it worked
Good.
out
Respect.
perfectly.
Respect.
Yeah. But shout out to Seattle. We were in Seattle and we had a little circle reunion. Brian from the Circle season 5 was there with, and shout out to our Purple Pants Posse member. Amber was up in the building. That's
Yup.
Brian's fiance. Everybody was like, what show was she on? I said, the Purple Pants Podcast. You better ask somebody.
Okay.
Shout out to the Mole. Shout out to Big Brother Canada. Shout out to Survivor. Okay. And listen, not in plain sight, the alligator pulled up, okay, with his beautiful daughter. The alligator, Zoe, the alligator had an alligator on his shirt. I said, you know me, the first of all, I'm awkward. So I saw Wendell talking to alligator, and I'm like, let me walk up. Don't do nothing weird. Don't do nothing weird. Don't do nothing weird. And I wasn't ready for it. Gabler just turned to me and was like, Brice. I was like, is that an alligator on your shirt? And he was like, sure is.
He is so great. Like the energy. I didn't see that guy on TV, but the guy I saw at our event, so much energy. Like big, like he's a ball of joy, man. He makes you feel good. He got to the venue before any of us, and he was out there giving away little pins with his face on them. And yeah, what a great guy.
Yeah. And there was a whole bunch of football players in the building.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was a lot going on, but Seattle definitely did not disappoint. It definitely was. What's the not the acronym, but something that subtly in Seattle? Sleep. Yeah. Seattle.
No sleep in Seattle?
Or sleepless in Seattle. It wasn't given sleepless in Seattle. It was given.
Wait, it would have been given sleepless in Seattle.
If you're up, then you're sleepless.
Oh, then it was sleepless in Seattle. Okay. Oh, I thought it was trying to say, because
it's sleepy in Seattle.
But yeah,
anyway. What's for me?
And the venue.
Yeah.
The venue.
The venue is unreal.
Shout out to Forum Social House. They did the trivia. Shout out to the winners of trivia. Shout out to, I think it was Johnny Fairplay's grandma was one of the team's names in there. Sneaky was in there. So we had just such an amazing time.
I wish I got there in time for the trivia because I caught the end of it. I was firing answers off.
Yeah.
I was cooking.
Dang.
But they didn't want the smoke.
Okay. But yeah, Seattle was amazing. And listen, the tour is just revving its way up. Okay.
That's not the sound of a car, Brice. Brice. That is not a car. You're a freak.
That is a car.
Brice,
that's a 1973.
No.
The car sounds like it's stalling, but it is revving its way up.
Brice, you're nasty.
I can't do it now.
You sound like a sick pirate.
Brice, no more sound effects.
Walk the plank. All right. I've got me a cold.
Brice is like, I want to fetch some booty.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. Whether it's a car starting or I don't know what else it could be, but the tour is revving its way up in Atlanta, ATL, where the players play and the ballers ball. We will be there next Wednesday, April 5th. So pull up, show up. Tickets are still available. Click the link in Wendell's Instagram bio. Click the link in my Instagram bio. Or you can click the link in Jack's bio and it goes to his alarm clock and it will wake him up instantly. So, or Brice and Wen present, and we will see you in Atlanta. But listen, after Atlanta, I don't know what that was. You can.
I'm trying to do some of that this weekend.
Okay, we are packing it up, and we are moving up the country to Pittsburgh, HBG. We will be in the building April 12th.
Did he say HB?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's HBG stand
No,
for?
HBG. That's people from Pittsburgh. That's the acronym for Pittsburgh.
PGH? PGH.
Oh, what did I say?
HBG.
Sorry, my brain is still.
HB.
So yeah, wait, what's the acronym for Pittsburgh?
Like
PGH.
or
PGH.
no, it's like PT
No, it's PGH.
word.
PGH, April 12th. We will be in
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
HBG.
You don't want to miss it, okay? And wait, you think that's it? Y'all better start your engine. We are going back to Boston, okay? Boston at the Greatest Bar, May 3rd. Listen, Boston, you are already showing out, okay? We see them emails. We see the people calling. Boston, you don't want to miss it. Then what we got? May 10th, Philadelphia, Philly is where I am from Jazzical.
That's not the
Philly,
song.
Philly, where I am from. And then listen, after Philly, if you got a Tesla, you better plug it up. If you got a car, you better fill it up.
You better start your engine.
If you got a truck, you better get that diesel fuel. Because you okay, all roads lead to Brooklyn.
BK, stand up.
HBG.
KLN.
BBC. They didn't even catch that one, but I did. Anyway, Brooklyn is where we are going, and you don't want to miss it. Listen, we are doing the welcome party May 23rd. Then the finale, the 2 to 3 hour finale.
Back to back.
Back to back, so you don't want to miss it. So the Brice and Wen Tour 44 is underway, and we appreciate the support because the posse definitely shows up. So we can't thank you enough. We pulled up in Seattle. They had the Purple Pants Podcast stickers. They had the Purple Pants Podcast hoodies. They were going
Back.
to Seattle.
Tattoo.
But yeah, so we are here. Okay.
Seahawks legends pulled up too.
Oh, did they?
Cam Chancellor, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
He and my buddy just played on the golf simulator the whole time. But yeah, man, good episode. Or not, good episode, maybe not, but definitely a emotional episode to get into this week. And you know, watching it in Seattle with you guys was a lot of fun. Should we dive right into it?
I thought you were doing that.
I just want to make sure, man. I didn't want to get my engine too started. But so we get back to camp and back at Tika and Jam. It's only 3 of them. It's Jam, Josh, and Carolyn. Sarah was just voted out. And Jam is kind of visibly frazzled by the fact that, you know, Sarah was voted out. He was blindsided. And now in this group of 3, it's sort of a clear-cut 2 versus 1, at least after Tribal. And Jam, I felt like didn't really pull any punches. He was letting people know how he was feeling. I just wanted to sort of get a sense of, you know, it's been a minute since we've seen a tribe get down to this low in the numbers. And it's such a unique dynamic, I feel like, compared to, you know, the beginning of the game where the tribes have 6+ people. When you're only down to 3 and you're on the outside of the vote, you really have no one. So just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on, if you're in this, say you're in Jam's position, or really any position on this Tika group, what's the best way to play it and try to win someone over? Because all it takes is getting one person. What do you guys think about Jam's position in this squad and just Tika in general?
He came to Josh and Jam wanted, it seemed like he wanted to open the lines of communication, but it seemed like Josh what Josh was saying, I don't think lined up with Josh's facial expressions.
Yeah.
From my perspective, Josh is like, "No, we good." All right, you know what I'm saying? But like, it just seemed like he was not with it with Jam Jam, and yeah, from Jam Jam's standpoint, he just got blindsided. You're shaking up a bit, but the best players are the ones that get shaken up like that and don't quit, but they look for some ends. And I think him trying to speak to Josh is the play. You want to speak to both of them, but I don't think Josh was ready for it.
Yeah, it was an interesting scene because I feel like I can completely understand where Josh was coming from, because Josh was like, I got on this tribe and you try to get me out.
True.
And so I could definitely get where he's coming from, especially looking from the point of view that like we're both queer men of color. And then, Jam Jam on the other hand is like, you just did me dirty. Like, good play. Like, let's move on. So I thought it was just really interesting to just kind of see Jam Jam when he's not even, clearly it's looking like he might be going in, because Josh shows him the letter of the idol and then makes a grade A idol that, eventually when he shows it again to Jam Jam, it falls apart. And Josh is like, don't break my idol.
Jam Jam called him right out too. Like, bruh.
Right.
Yeah.
Jam Jam is like, oh, times is getting tough for Survivor. But one of the more, let me just try to get myself together, because watching the episode in Seattle and just, I didn't know what I was getting into. I just literally was just like watching the screen, and then just seeing Josh. What also I love about the complexity of this season is that, like, here we are, Josh and Jam Jam going right at each other. And then in that same breath, after they take a couple of seconds, they just go back to being humans. And Josh asks Jam Jam about him coming out to his family. And Jam Jam reveals that he never really came out to his mom, and that people always suspected of him being gay. But, Jam Jam just never really came out. And, just hearing Jam Jam's story, I thought it was just so interesting, because I just feel like, especially when we're talking about the LGBTQ plus, we're talking about queer people, we're talking about people of color, we're talking about people of different sizes and shape. And I think that, just Survivor in itself is all about just being a human. And so you might not be a member of the LGBTQ plus community, you might be a bigger person. And I think what Jam Jam was saying about how his issue was never really finding himself attractive. It wasn't about him not being okay with him being gay, but just him saying that, like, I didn't love myself enough. And it was just like, wow, there are been so many times in my life that I have felt like I'm not worthy enough. And so just to be able to be watching my favorite show in the whole wide world, but then to be able to see a gay man of color talking about his experience of not coming out to his mom, talking about him not loving himself enough. And I just was in awe. And then for him to be having that conversation with another queer man of color, and Josh telling his story about how when he came out to his mom was when he was in college after high school, because he didn't feel comfortable. He felt as though he had to get away from his small town, and how his mom received it the first night, and then the next day she just came back to him. I just thought those conversations were so important, not just because they are queer men, but specifically for me, because I can only speak from my perspective, but seeing two queer men of color talk about growing up, talking about coming out, just was so powerful for me. And I was sitting there with a bunch of friends in Seattle, and I'm just crying. And because it just was like, wow, I never would have imagined this. And then as I'm sitting there in Seattle, literally crying, because I'm a crybaby, this person taps me on the shoulder and it's like, you had a part in this conversation, Brice. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, the diversity campaign and the diversity in queer men. It just was so amazing. And what I even thought was so much more funny was, after they have that deep conversation, they get right back into the game. And it's like, I love it. I'm like, the girls, we can be emotional and be raw. And guess what? We still know we're playing Survivor. I just thought that moment was so powerful. So I was just couldn't believe I was watching it on Survivor.
you might have gotten a moment where you see a gay person talking to a straight person or trying to explain their experiences, and that was such progress for Survivor. In this case, you have two gay men of color on the same island connecting on that, sharing their experiences. It's something that would have been so far-fetched however many years ago to think that we would have this moment. And for them to go from Josh's not so friendly face and Jam trying to find ends to having this very deep, emotional, eye-opening conversation is just, it's such a, that's a great way of coming together, but also of storytelling. So kudos to Survivor for enabling such a diverse cast to where this can happen. Now, I guess if I'm not mistaken, the whole cast is queer, right? I'm sorry, the whole tribe.
Yeah.
It's Carolyn, Jam, and Josh. And for that to even happen by happenstance, because it's like, you know, how the cards fell, but it's just for the casting producers to allow such a diverse cast for this to be a possibility and for these conversations to happen. Big kudos to them, and big kudos to you, Brice, for fighting for it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had so many great moments between these two and for all of Tika sprinkled throughout the episode. And obviously the way the episode shakes out is a shame, but I'm excited that Tika didn't have to vote anyone out, because I think this trio is going to bring so much strategy, but also personality to the rest of the season. But sliding over to Ratu, we see the continuation of Matthew's struggles with his shoulder injury that he dislocated climbing the rock. And he gets some support from Kane and from Carson. But we also see, branching off of that, Carson has sort of found a really solid place in this tribe where he has Kane coming to him and they're nerding out together. He has Matthew coming in and kind of really opening up to him pretty genuinely. Like, they shared a hug, and Carson was very supportive of Matthew's struggles with his shoulder. And yeah, Carson's just found himself in a really good spot. I think this switch was really beneficial to him, especially because we saw over on Tika, like, he was in a good spot, but we also saw he started playing started showing his cards a little bit, because he's really hamming up his innocence a little bit, but we see that he's willing to make some moves. And now that he's on Ratu, he's able to sort of reset in that sense and also make connections with all these new people while maintaining those Tika connections potentially going into the merge. Did you guys have any quick thoughts on the status of Ratu? We haven't seen them go to a tribal council since the very first episode. So,
yeah, I think Ratu is very interesting because for me, it was one, you know, we love Carson over here. I love the game that Carson is playing. It's almost as if like Carson has seen season 43. Did they see 43 or like they didn't
no,
see,
they
right?
didn't.
No.
Because it's like you know what we were saying, and of course, you know, I talk to James about this all the time, but you know, because James always feels like, you know, the physical threats and, you know, they want to get those people out, but it's the people that play that Erica game, that play that Gabler game. And for me, it almost seems as if like Carson is trying to play that game. And I mean, we see it's working.
To play what game? I'm sorry.
To play the like
under the radar,
like innocent, like type of game. And so for me, I just think Carson is doing a great job. The thing that gets me so nervous for Carson is that like clearly the editors love him. I mean, we just love Carson. And when this episode started, I was nervous. I was like, this better not be Carson's day, because it just started off with this lovely montage of Carson. And again, thinking in that same vein, not on Ratu, but even about Carolyn, like how she is just seen as like this, like you over there type of person. Again, in my opinion, aligns with that model of kind of sort of how they looked at a Marianne. Like, you know, she over there, she just talking, she just do too much. Like, you know, so I'm just like, could these potentially people be our winners? But back to Ratu, what I love the fact that Kane and Carson are linking up. I love the support that Carson has given Matt. But for me, what makes me so nervous about Rat 2 is that like the willingness of Rat 2 to kind of latch on to Carson is kind of sort of signifying to me, like, how close is Kane really with Brandon? How close is Matthew with Brandon? How close is Kane with Ashley? Because it's like,
Ashley.
I mean, Lauren.
Lauren.
You know, and it's just like, you know, Kane, you just pouncing on Carson, but like,
or maybe he thinks it's good to establish those relationships, and maybe he questions where he is in the tribe.
Yeah,
100%.
no, but for me, it just signifies that they just, you know how.
Yeah, exactly. To your point, it's good especially for a Carson to go into a group. You know, it's still a pretty large group, and like you said, because they haven't really been a tribal much, they haven't had to vote out. There's still those cracks that exist where everyone's like, "Oh, I don't feel 100% with my group. Let me go grab a Carson," and everyone's sort of doing that and coming to him. Whereas, like, even over on Tika, of course, we saw it. Or I guess Soka's probably a better example where, you know, that group of Danny, Heidi, Franny, and Matt were sort of like, all right, we've got our squad now, so whoever comes over is, you know, going to be in hot water. So I think Carson probably got the best, you know, deal from that twist of last episode of all the switches. I think Carson easily, of course, he played his hand really well, but I think just the factor of like the people he's going over to, plus the fact that he's leaving Tika, which was probably the weakest group, really worked out in his favor. And now we kick it over. Speaking of Soka, I guess, especially speaking of good vibes, that we go over there and they're on the beach doing some breath work led by Danny, the breathwork king.
Breathing with Danny.
Yeah.
And he got his soundtrack.
So, and they're vibing. Jamie talks about how, you know, she is Soka is her spot. You know, she came over from Ratu and she said if she could pick, like, she would pick Soka. It's just positive energy, good people. And
she's into the meditation.
She's
and
into the meditation. And I think probably to your point a little bit about Ratu just now, Brice, is like Ratu didn't seem that close knit, whereas Soka really seems to be a solid unit. And I also just want to say I really like the way that Danny talked about breathwork, because I remember on my season of the Circle we had a breathwork instructor, and at first I was very skeptical, but I realized that like solid breath, the way he explained it is like, you know, he doesn't know the its and outs of it, but he knows that it makes him feel good and it helps him get in the right headspace. And I think that's kind of all that needs to be said about it. And clearly it's working for him and the rest of the Soka members.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about breath work, but hypothetically speaking, if I were ever to have done a class with Danny in Toronto, I'm a believer of it. I don't know if you've ever like meditated, Jack, or sometimes I always struggle, you know, I try to do these guided meditations and I'm like, am I doing it right? I don't feel nirvana. Like, what am I waiting for? But I did a breathtaking class with a friend of mine named Manny, and
a breathtaking class. It was a breathtaking breathwork class.
It was a breathtaking class, and that's how I learned to. But no, and I, in the middle of the class, bust out crying because I like felt it, and I was so happy to be with my best friend named Wendell, who in the middle of me busted out crying from just, you know, this breath work. I'm, you know, like in my Zen state and like, you know, oh my God, you know, just crying. And I just hear, but
I guess Wendell must have been laughing at you because he didn't know what you were doing over there.
Good thing it's a hypothetical story. But yeah, I love when you see the people out there doing yoga. But what's the name of this tribe? This is the Green tribe, right?
Soka.
Soka. do I need to go to Fiji? Because what I'm trying to figure out, because here I am living my life. It's not golden. I live in Philly. Do I need to find a street named Soka? Do I need to go to Fiji? Because listen, I want somebody to text me back, and I can't get nobody to text me back. But Franny and Matt can go on Survivor and ask for a hug. I just want a hug. Okay? I don't even, I just want somebody tall, handsome, fit,
High
man,
yellow.
to just walk up to me and say, can I give you a hug? And I mean, I'm going to fall to, I'm not going to fall to my knees.
If somebody asks Brice for a hug, Brice going to be like,
like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing wrong in life? Third boot on Survivor, and I can't even get a hug.
Yeah,
Question.
Go ahead, Wendell.
Do you think that he had to ask for that hug because of rules?
I'm pretty sure, because I feel like I'm pretty sure. But I'm just saying, Matt, if you listening, you have consent given already. Given.
Okay, Matt, you heard it first. Brice Isaiah needs a hug.
Yeah, and that was a long hug too.
Okay.
You could.
Matt was like, "Hold me."
That might have been a PG-13 hug for the episode rating. And I like that. Or actually, I want to get your thoughts on this because I'm a little bit torn. Franny does a little confessional after where she's talking about hypothetically, after this is all over, we're gonna go out for some Ethiopian food and see what happens. And then she was like, I could see myself hypothetically, maybe like Matt is the type of guy I would want to date. And then the producer was like, oh, I see you blushing. And then she was like, what do you guys think? It's been a minute, or it's very rare that we get those producer lines kept in the edit.
First episode, season 44, but
yeah, but that's why it's rare. I changed my words. What do you guys think about those little snippets of that kind of break the fourth wall?
The producer thought she was on Love Island and not Survivor. Okay, she wanted the tea. I like it. For those moments.
Yeah.
They did it to make it fun and silly and fun and fun. And that was the effect. And this is not your traditional showmance of the whatever people. And because of that, I think it makes everyone love watching it that much more. So any content that we can get out of her or him talking about the other person,
yeah,
it's
cute.
Fun. It's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I like these little producer moments. I mean, I definitely, you do think about it. It's like for a second, it does kind of take you out of the like imagined, the imagined world of the show. But I mean, I still think it's a fun little moment, and it's obviously not like the producer's like on camera or anything. It's just like, and it almost that I guess in a way, like taking you out of that can kind of be a fun little behind the scenes in a sense too. So,
yeah.
But definitely as far as their showmance goes, I like all the content. It's really wholesome.
Can we talk about it a little bit? Like, do we see what do we see this doing for either of their games? I have my assumption about one person probably being able to compartmentalize a little better than the other, and it would make that person get a little farther in this game. But what do you guys think about this and what it will do for their games?
I think Franny's middle name is Black, last name Widow, and I think that for the game of Survivor, she will eat Matt up and spit him back out at an Ethiopian restaurant after the game is over, and they'll live their life. However, I do feel like Survivor, and they're editing this season, right? We don't really get to see a lot of strategic talk of Matt. And it makes me feel like, are they doing that on purpose? Because we know that they are purposely withholding a lot of stuff from us. So, and they are giving us a lot of Franny saying she be willing to cut Matt. And I'm like, what if Matt feels the same way, but we're just not getting those edits? So I don't know.
Yeah.
But if we're not getting those edits, might that mean that we're getting set up, or that we're going to see Franny make a move?
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting, and especially with the merge so close, and we need any reason to target anybody. And once people get wind that they are a
Paired up.
couple, that they
Yeah.
hugged,
That's getting real.
okay, sand going blow in
Now,
the wind.
we also had, did we have a Jamie confessional where, or did we have a moment when Jamie was talking about one of them?
Yeah, Jamie was talking to Franny about how she felt like Matt, wasn't really giving her a lot, like not much information, which Franny thought was good because she was like, okay, Jamie's not really picking up on this too much. So, hopefully for their sake, Franny and Matt seem to be covering it up a little bit better. And hopefully once they reach the merge, they'll be able to continue that and it won't be too big of a problem. But I do kind of agree with what you were alluding to, Wendell, that most likely one of them could be an early merge exit just to kind of break that duo up. And then whoever's left, I would guess probably Franny would be the longer, stick around a little longer. She could do quite well. It's really just a question of like, how does that showmance come to an end? Is it a backstab, or is it just sort of at the hands of the other players?
Right.
Or does it?
Oh.
I don't know. It could be a Rob and Amber situation.
I don't know, but I know if I get the opportunity to interview Franny or Matt, or I'm gonna just have to call up Robert, I want to know, because you know me, most people, we've got 5 senses, sight, touch, smell, perception, and and thoughts. Okay. Those are your 5 senses.
What?
What about
Taste?
After COVID, who taste is an option on
All
one.
right, Brice, give us our senses again.
Sight, smell, touch, perception, and thought.
and so taste and sound off the table?
Huh? No. Anyway, some people can walk down the street and touch a house, or touch a tree and be like, their memories come back. Some people can see something and it takes them back. Some people can smell something and it instantly, like I experience through smell. I just love to smell things, like not in a weird way, but like I just always like want to smell something. So I'm curious to know that, like when Franny and Matt hugged, like I wonder, like, were there pheromones? Like, were they like, ooh? Because like people be a little funky on Survivor. And I just am curious, like, were they like, ooh, little stank? Or was it like, ooh, a little tart and sweet to my eyes?
I mean, they're probably all pretty used to the.
Oh, you don't get used to it.
Stench.
You be out there for 11 days. Somebody be like, come here. You.
Fair.
You know who was one of the smelliest on Ghost Island?
Who? Who?
She was in a showmance. That wasn't a showmance.
Oh.
Jenna, because she had that members only jacket on. And I think that thing trapped
everything.
Yeah, she was a little smelly.
Damn. I was going to say, it's funny you brought this up though, Brice, because I was in my acting class the other day and we were talking about like the senses. And this kid in my class is like the
kid you told me about before?
No, different kid. This kid's like a bio major. And he said that apparently smell is like the one sense that when you're like experiencing it forgoes some sort of processor in your brain, and so it makes it much more like real. So when you're like smell something that is like you remember from like your childhood, it like brings you back more than like any other sense.
I can see that.
For me, I just I know what my friends smell like. I know places that, I don't know. I always have the need to want to to categorize a smell.
What's your favorite scent?
I don't really have I mean, I don't know. I don't have a favorite scent. And again, like there are scents that just smell nasty, but for me, it's not necessarily nasty. It's just like, oh, okay.
Word.
And you love smelling them too, though, Bryce.
I mean,
You're weird.
I don't repeatedly smell it over and over again, but I want to categorize it.
I feel that. Well, what about you? What's your favorite smell?
I don't know if I have a favorite smell.
Y'all don't have a favorite smell?
What's
Okay.
yours? Lavender?
Mine is either like a campfire, like a smoky campfire, or I like vanilla.
The last time we were in LA,
pretty
you
vanilla.
must have been in all your joys, baby boy.
Yeah. Well, and I think it is a lot memory based because, growing up, I'd always go camping with my dad and my grandpa. And then also things like the Survivor game we played together. That campfire smoke just settles into your clothes, and it's just a fond memory.
Yeah.
What's you guys' favorite perception?
I thought perception was one of them.
Sometimes you're walking down the street and you perceive something.
You touch a house. You smell the house.
Okay.
But yeah. So now we can kick it over to the immunity challenge, where they have to head through a wooden maze, like a big wooden maze with all these sort of sticks intercrossing. They have to go over and under these posts, and then they have to cross this net seesaw with buckets of water in order to retrieve balls for a labyrinth sort of ball table maze.
Wendell, do you know how to make a ball table maze?
I know how to make one. Would you like one?
I don't like my balls on the table. In a maze.
In a maze. So it's a pretty close challenge.
Bryce is gonna have one of his friends show up to his house. He's gonna be like, "I got a game for you."
Wendell made me this table. It's a maze.
You gotta win immunity. You gotta win the sword and the shield.
Wait till you see what the surprise is at the end.
You want to know how you play? But wait, quick question. What I'm confused at is I thought you had to crawl under the thing at the end. Why the hell is Brandon Cottom doing a push-up? Okay.
He's crawling through.
He doing a push-up. We know you was a former NFL player. Last episode, Brandon was like, I'm good at everything. I can crawl under the maze and do a push-up. Okay, Kane is like, how do you do that?
Kane's like, yo, get your behind up.
Kane's like, this reminds me of the Lord of the Rings movie.
When Frodo Baggins was climbing underneath.
Carson is like, he's really not, he's levitating. Look at Kane's face. How is he doing that?
He's a gladiator, man.
You look like Smeagol's a little bit.
And so when they get to the table maze, it's all super close. And ultimately, Tika struggles a little bit, which allows Ratu and then Soka to secure the win and send Tika back to another tribal council. But a couple of things happen after this. Matthew gets looked at by medical for the first time in a little bit, and they say that because the injury is sort of getting worse, it's likely that he probably tore something, which makes it a little bit more significant because he could have dislocated his shoulder but not done any major damage, and the pain would probably subside within a few days. But for him, like you said, it's been getting worse and worse. Also, Ratu has the opportunity to pick people for a journey where they choose Brandon from their own tribe, Danny from Soka, and Carolyn from Tika. And I guess before we get into the post-tribal strategic antics, let's just break down this journey a little bit. For the first time, the journey we see is actually just a sanctuary where it says there's nothing to be won, nothing to risk, just a time to get some food, enjoy each other's company, get to know each other. But how are you gonna relay this experience to your tribe? Because they might think they're always now expecting some sort of advantage or something. So by just saying, "Oh, we went and had lunch," they might just think you're full of it, which I thought was a bit of an interesting dynamic. But while they're at the sanctuary, pretty hilarious part of the episode with Brandon and Danny just immediately broing down, talking about their like future together in the game and how the big guys need to look out for each other. And Carol just sitting there like, what's up? Like Brandon even told her, he's like, you know what? Like, I'll keep it real with you. I would keep you around because you're not very good at the challenges. So I'm being honest. And I was like, oh man.
He's like, hey, good luck making it through tonight. Okay.
Yeah. And
we'll see if we see you tomorrow. All right.
Yeah. And they're like, and we just got to pull in Josh, and then we'll have like a alliance of the big boys, right? Right, Carolyn? So I don't know.
What you about to do?
Yeah. What did you guys think of just this whole journey experience for these three? What stood out?
Carolyn.
She's a gem.
For sure. I mean, I loved seeing Brandon and Danny. I love the fact that, again, I feel like it speaks to the fact a lot of like there's unspoken rules in Survivor, and people don't always talk about that, but it's like I liked seeing Brandon and Danny who have never met before being like, I've been waiting to get with you. Like, we're going to work together. Like, exciting. I love to hear their gameplay. There's never been anybody like them that won the game before. So,
Has there been? But Brice, they broed down hard.
No, I mean, it was
almost to the tune of completely excluding.
No,
it was way too obvious for sure.
The biggest character on the season.
Yeah.
No, I did finish.
Their relationship is more open than Matt and Franny's at this point.
No, I liked to see them like talking it out and being like, oh, I want to work with you, but also at the same time, it's like, every season I talk about somebody's Achilles heel, right? And their Achilles heel clearly is they are going to overlook people, or clearly them overlooking Carolyn, in my opinion, is going to be their Achilles heel. Now, mind you, I'm rooting for everybody at the table. We love a Brandon Cottom. I love Carolyn and I love Danny. But like for them to just have that whole conversation,
yes, so obvious,
targeting people, and then Carolyn's like, "What about me?" And then Danny was like, "Well, who you want to get out?" And Carolyn's like, "Well, I'm not going to tell you guys. I'm just trying to survive."
Yep.
Was just.
And at this point, she's played like more game than the two of them combined in terms of, tribals and strategy. So I could see why on the surface they might overlook her a little bit, but just it's never a good idea in the game to just write someone off and just so obviously strategize in front of someone who you're really not putting any effort into bringing in the mix. A time like this, especially when you're sharing food and like proverbially breaking bread together, like it's an opportunity with just two other people. You have a couple hours to just be like, let's get on the same page, and that could be a game changer. But instead, Brandon and Danny essentially made an enemy almost. So
maybe not an enemy, but
not an ally.
I mean,
big oversight,
a huge oversight. And again, I think the Survivor player in me loves to see this connection, right? Loves to see people like, oh, this is what we want to do. But again, like you're leaving Carolyn out. And if and when I ever see a Brandon Cottom in person, did Brandon really hit Caroline with
Who's Caroline?
Caroline.
Is it still music time or no?
She thinks she's so fine.
No.
Caroline.
See, Caroline, I think she's mighty fine. Mighty fine, only got you somewhere half the time. And
There's no way Jack's gonna get that. But listen,
I know
anyway,
that one.
well,
I don't know who it's
you'd like to
Yeah,
think, yo.
yeah.
Don't stink.
because that's
but
more of like a alternative rock
Christmas
sort of.
smell.
Like,
Who sings it?
I don't know, but
Anyway, back to Brandon Cottle.
Get him.
Did
And
Brandon
Caroline.
Cottle eat all that food, talk about his tattoo, and at the end of the dinner, did he really get up from that table and hit Carolyn with the, all right, yo, hope you safe. Oh, mind you, first of all, you can tell Brandon is from Philly because when people around Philly, because we live in Philadelphia, you got to hit them with the, all right, be safe. But Brandon really he hit Caroline with the,
Carolyn.
he
Friend of
hit
the
her with
show.
the, keep your head up. I see you. If I don't see you on the other side, know that I love you and we praying for you. Like, I was like, what type of good bye is that? All right, y'all.
for $1 million, be smooth.
I hope I see you tomorrow.
Like,
right. When they got back to the boat, Brandon was humming, although we go to the end of the road, still I can't let go. It's so natural. Brandon was like, Carolyn, is your bags packed?
Make sure you
released
don't
a
forget
dove.
anything.
He let a dove fly out. He was like,
be safe, my sister.
he gave her a rose.
He gave her. I was like, what? And mind you, it's Brandon's face because mind you, I had to rewatch that. It's like he didn't know what to say. But like he needed to say something in that moment because Carolyn was like, hello. No, and then Brandon's like, no, for real.
Good luck.
I hope you make it to see another day.
Yeah.
Keep fighting on. Stay strong, my beautiful sister. Although it may storm at night, Ponderosa does have a
He turned into a preacher.
He's like,
Dr. Brandon Luther King.
Dr. Brandon Cottle King.
he's like, if I see you at the merge, I'll keep you around. You kind of suck at the challenges, so I hope you're there.
He said, thoughts and prayers, Carolyn.
Thoughts and prayers.
Be easy.
Danny was breathing. Okay. Brandon was like, weeping may endure for a night, but tribal. I said, Brandon. It like he leaned in, like he was easy. So like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Me and Danny over here.
We good.
Is that red? Red. Listen, I mean, do what you can do. Hit him hard. Duck. Swing. Okay.
Use your
Run.
5 senses.
Right. Use your 5 senses.
Perception.
Be perceptive.
He's like, all right, Danny, I'll see you at the merge, Carolyn. Good luck.
Carolyn.
Hey, be safe out there. I heard there's snakes in the trees.
He said, Danny, final 3. Carolyn,
Final 3.
see you in the States.
Carolyn, final 12, baby. I'll see you there.
Top 12.
Yeah.
Carolyn, we gonna wear yellow at the reunion.
Yeah.
What? But I mean, those are the moments that are just so hilarious to me because it's like he honestly just didn't know what to say.
He was like, wait, Carolyn, you got travel tonight? Shoot.
Like, what y'all getting into tonight?
He's like, we're going to be back at camp doing some breath work.
Now, what y'all getting into tonight?
Yeah.
She said, I got travel.
Yeah.
Oh, You on Delta or United? I hope you got TSA. I mean,
Yeah.
pre-check.
Oh, you going to Pawnee tonight?
You checking for your flight yet, Carolyn?
Oh.
Oh, oh,
Say what's up to Maddie for me.
right.
Oh,
Let me know if Bruce all right.
Man.
Like, ah,
well,
But-
Cottam, we love you.
okay.
Carolyn, we love you too. Yeah, that's all I got.
And then we get Journey wraps up. They go back to camp, and now it's sort of all Tika for a little bit, where we see this dynamic between the three of Jam Jam, Carolyn, and Josh. As soon as Carolyn, we've seen Josh and Jam Jam make some amends, but as soon as Carolyn gets back, she's immediately signaling to Jam Jam like, "We're good, like just two of us." And there's sort of a triple confusion between every person where they don't really trust any of the other people, but they're trying to make things lined up. And Carolyn, coming off this sanctuary, is now very concerned about the big boys getting together. So this puts a seed in her head that maybe Josh isn't best for her game. So she wants to sort of bring Jam Jam back into the fold. Jam Jam doesn't really trust either Josh or Carolyn, but we of course don't see exactly how it shakes out, but it does seem like Jam Jam and Carolyn were sort of realigned. Before I ask you your thoughts, obviously circling back to what we talked about earlier, the hilarious moment where Josh is flexing his fake idol and Jam Jam's like, "Aren't those the bees from Tree Mail, Josh?" He's
Give
like,
it back.
He's like, "I wouldn't lie to you." And then Carolyn's like, "Wait, that's the same note you had the other day. Like, you think I can't read?" And that was just hilarious. But at the same time, Jam Jam's like, "Okay, I know his idol's fake, but like, I could still work with him, So what'd you guys just make of this whole dynamic? Like, and what if of course, if they went to tribal, what do you guys think would have went down?
I think if they went to tribal, more than likely, I think Josh, although I don't want to admit it, I think he may have went home. I think that
Agreed.
Jam Jam and Carolyn have enough history that I feel like they would be unsure, both of them working with Josh. That's just what I think. Although I wouldn't want Josh to go home, but I definitely think after Carolyn
Agreed.
checking her flight at that journey coming back, I felt like she really wanted some security. And although Josh, she worked with Josh last episode, I do think Jam Jam gives her some sense of security. But also, I think to Jam Jam's point, where a couple of minutes ago, Jam Jam was scrambling and felt like he was really going home. I really think in that situation in Survivor, how it plays to, even when it is time to scramble, I think there is something about being level-headed, staying cool, because it's interesting how it seemed like Jam Jam just flipped to nail the swing vote.
Yeah. It's very complex with those groups of three, because it's like you wanna be the swing vote, but you don't want to be given both people so much of a promise that when they inevitably talk to each other can compare notes and be like, "Oh, well, so and so swore to me that they're voting with me," but then the other person's like, "Well, they gave you the same promise." They can easily be like, "All right, well, let's just get together then too." So it's such a weird, delicate balance where I'm like, for me, if I'm in that situation, I think, of course, you kind of want to appease both players, but I think you really got to sit solo for a second and be like, what really is my best option, both to stay, but also for my long-term game? Go to that person and just make your pitch hard and just be like, "Look, I swear to you, like the ball might be in your court, but like I'm writing the other person's name down, like on my life. Let's make this happen." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
If-
obviously, if you don't have that level of connection with someone like maybe Jam Jam and a Carolyn did, then you might have to stir up a little bit more chaos. But if there's someone where you've been that like through a rocky road with, but you've got a connection, I think you just have to lay it all out there for them.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jack. You pitch it hard, I'ma stay.
Yeah.
We're gonna find a pause in there somewhere. I agree though, Jack. I agree.
Yeah, and so it was, and right in the midst of their confusion, all of a sudden they see something coming. Now, Jeffrey, you run everything, Mr. Amazing Host Propes. Come here. Because I know you listen to the podcast, okay?
Friend of the show.
Okay, I know you want to be on the Zaddy calendar, but listen, I got to cuss you out, okay? Listen.
Can you invite him on the Zaddy calendar before you cuss him out?
No, because sometimes you gotta sometimes you gotta let people know.
You
about
gotta keep
this.
it real.
You gotta keep it real, and I'm gonna keep it real with Jeffrey. Okay, he got
Tell him.
He got his own podcast now, so Jeffrey acting up. But listen here, Jeffrey. If ever I am on Survivor again, and I have to be medivac or leave the game, and you pull up to the beach like this,
Yo, Tika!
Pull it up to the beach.
I got the most amazing news for you.
like,
Matthew.
Yo, he's out. He's out.
Brandon and Danny on their way. Like, I was perplexed. Why is he pulling up like that?
Jeff's always vibing.
Jeff was, he was.
Why they got Joe Mena in the back on the boat?
No, that looks like Joe Budden.
Okay.
For real.
And then it's like,
Jeff looks like he's reading a bedtime story.
Once upon a time, not long ago. But yeah, I just surprised. What do you think, like, in that moment though? Like, if y'all were on that tribe and clearly you see Jeff coming, and honestly, like, all jokes aside though, like, anytime in Survivor when you see Jeff coming, you know it's not a great thing. What do you think in your mind when Jeff pulls up and there's only 3 of y'all?
I mean, I think it's usually good news. Well, not good news, but like if you're about to go to tribal and Jeff pulls up, it's probably means you aren't going to tribal. Which if you're on the in Tika, you know, I think even if you're super confident in your plan, you'd still rather not go to tribal. I think in a group of 3, you know what I mean. So, but you know. What about you guys as the experienced players? Like, what would you interpret that as?
Yeah, I think that same thing. I would think, all right, he's pulling up. Usually this doesn't happen before tribal, so he's coming to share something with us. He's probably not at tribal council right now. He's pulling up on us. What's he going to take the same boat as us to tribal? So
Jeff's like shotgun.
Here's another reason why Jeff Reed get on my nerves. So clearly they had to evacuate him from that Matthew was gone. Jeff was like, you think I'm going to waste this tribal drip? Okay. Get the Adidas real quick. Like, okay, Jeffrey.
So here's another thing. He also, I wonder, well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, right after the competition is where they had the conversation with Matthew, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they still allowed these jokers to scramble before Jeff pulled up on them, which I think is kind of cool. At least, like, make them scramble and all this stuff, even though you know that you guys are pulling Matthew.
True.
Another question. Did Matthew have a real idol?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
So, because I couldn't remember if it was
found one.
He found one, then made a fake one, but we don't know if the idol that he found was.
I'm pretty sure it was real. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I kept on thinking it was like somebody's fake one that was planted that we're gonna get a flashback for.
So, but in the essence of flashback, because for me in the episode, I thought it was weird the timing of everything. Of like, why are you guys giving us this Matthew montage in the middle of the episode, as opposed to like it would have been more befitting after after the
So
after the
after the
tribal,
challenge,
after the challenge. Yes, it would have been more fitting to like just show that montage. Like, why not show that montage? Show it before, then it's going. What I am getting at is that could Matthew have bestowed his idol to someone and they didn't want us to see it, and then all of a sudden somebody gonna have Matthew idol, and then we're gonna see Matthew give them the idol?
I think
Maybe.
he could have sent his idol, given his idol to someone, but I know the answer because I listened to his exit interview.
Oh,
And yeah,
Well, can you share that?
give us your perspective.
spoiler alert. No, basically, and since he has had like numerous shoulder, so much was going on in his shoulder, so much was messed up. Like he had serious surgery, and he said that Jeff and the doctor after the challenge sat him down, and the conversation was a long conversation, and with the doctor saying, "Hey, look, you can severely mess up your shoulder, and we don't even know what's going on in it right now." And with him not even being able to raise his arm anymore, with that information and them suggesting it, he made the informed decision to leave.
Yeah.
It's not so like I think what he said was if he had more time or something like that, he would have passed his idol on. And I think he said
So he sort of left in the moment.
yes. And I think he said something like he would have given it to Kane in secret or Carson publicly to put a target on him.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
not him going out in the game still would play in the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it would be funny if he just like before he left, he just grabbed it and just like threw it in his head and
Like somebody, this is an idol.
yeah. Interesting to hear that he would have wanted to put a target on Carson, given what we've seen.
Yeah.
But that's not surprising because look at his relationship with Jamie. He was like, again, Matthew was thinking 2 steps ahead. He was befriending Jamie only to have one up on her so that if
True.
the block got hot, he could offer her up. So that is smart thinking. But it was truly sad to see Matt go because I think I loved his game style. I loved his enthusiasm about the game. I loved how hard he continued to play in the game. I even think at like last episode, Jeff is like, Matthew took the sling off and participating in the slingshot challenge. You just could really just see his love of the game. And again, he loved the game so much. He was out there climbing, like enjoying the game. And so it just sucks when you see people that are great players go out early.
I feel like he'll get another shot though, on a returnee season or something.
Seeing that fall when they replayed it and stuff, I'm like, thank goodness he didn't hit his head.
Yeah, true that.
Like that, yeah. So
yeah, watch it. I can't even watch it back, and just. Whew, but glad to hear that Matthew is healing and his arm is better. He was for sure amazing to watch, and I know that he would have definitely gone far in the game had he lasted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm hoping he gets a second chance. He's a lot of fun, brought a lot of heart to the game, played super hard, which I think would have come back to bite him, but in a way that's really good television, and so I hope we see more of Matthew. I do want to say, I thought it was hilarious after Jeff broke the news and Karen was like, oh, Josh was like, why are you mad? She was like, I wanted to vote you out.
she said that?
Yeah, she was like, I was trying to vote you out. I mean, I think she like sort of meant it as a joke, but it was like you could tell like she meant it. So
Wow.
I was like, wow, that's a crazy statement right there.
It's Carolyn. She is great.
She's amazing. It's the Carolyn Show, and we just enjoying it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this was a fun episode. So again, This is your Survivor News. Your baby boys will be back next week.
Yep. Merge is next week from the teaser.
Merge. You know I love the merge. You know I love to see the food that they eat.
Yep.
So yeah.
And I think this, from what my guess, because there's only 12 left, I'm hoping this is just a standard, straightforward 12-person merge, which I'm excited about, seeing these three tribes come together as opposed to all the mergatory nonsense of the recent seasons. So I have a feeling it's gonna be a really fun episode.
I thought it was gonna be emergatory.
Oh, I don't. Maybe it will be, but
I'm just guessing.
But we're down to 12 now, as opposed to the past season where it's like 13.
True.
At least. So
well, we'll see y'all in Atlanta.
We'll see you in Atlanta. We'll see you in Pittsburgh.
And then Beantown, Boston. And then Homecoming Philly. And then the finale in New York City. And we are working on extra events for New York.
Hey.
Yes. So we got it. This has been your Survivor News. We'll be back next weekend.
Woo!
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.